And if you're an art lover, it may make you think of a very famous piece. It's called The Scream.
Tonight, Sotheby's will auction off the real thing, a pastel version of The Scream by Edvard Munch. Experts say it could sell for up to $200 million. That is a world record price. Senior art critic Jerry Saltz of the New York Magazine is here to show us why anyone would want to pay, why anyone would want to pay that much. Welcome.
That'll make people
So you're surprised
Jerry.
that anyone would want to pay $200 million for this?
Well, I think it's a great painting. I think it's a painting that almost anyone already has in their mind. It's a kind of icon of one kind of human being becoming another, of passing from one century to another, of a new idea of color, pretty psychotic, pretty strange, everything moving around. The fact that we're attaching this kind of value to it is kind of disgusting to me, in that we're not talking about the work, we're just talking about the money. The money doesn't really mean much. I wish that
the money doesn't mean much?
No.
200, why, Jerry? Why?
Because actually I think this painting had been more or less lost to history.
Okay.
It's an important painting. Now it's coming up for one night where everyone will see it, and it'll be gone again by tonight, 8 o'clock tonight. It'll become a number and in a private collection, most likely.
So if a museum was buying it, then you'd be happy. You wouldn't care what they paid for it.
A museum cannot afford to buy it anymore.
But suppose it was. The point is, it'll go in private hands and nobody will be able to see it again.
I think it's one of those paintings that should be out of play, out of the market, if, as it were.
So it can be seen.
So it can be seen by you and me and artists.
What was the highest price paid before this?
I really don't know.
Was it for a Picasso or a Van Gogh?
I assume it's one of the big names. Mostly what collectors do is they buy what other collectors buy. They're sort of self-replicating organisms that if they see something bright, shiny, or expensive, they'll buy it too. And so we end up talking about the kind of freak show that prices become. We stop talking about art, and art sort of becomes prices.
No chance that a private collector buys it and loans it to a museum to put on display?
My guess is that could happen. You could see it for a little bit of time on a museum wall, but my guess is it won't happen. The person who's selling it is a person from Oslo who says they want to take the $100 million and start their own museum. I would say just find a way to sell it to a Norwegian museum, put it up there for Norwegians, it's part of their national treasure, and take the tax breaks, take the $50 million, take care of your parents and be happy.
Jerry, but art is so subjective, and you say, you know, we shouldn't get caught up on the price, but when I look at the price and we talk about it, you know, it seems like I've seen this on people's refrigerators. I know, of course, that I haven't, but what is it about this particular piece that people think it's worth $200 million, and who is the likely buyer, in your opinion?
The likely buyer will be somebody in a private room in Dubai, in Russia,
Beijing.
an oil sheik, Beijing, or Fifth Avenue. Or it could be Mitt Romney. He may be the only American that can afford to buy a $100 million painting. I don't know, and put it in his
Oh, there are a lot of
garage.
Americans richer than Mitt Romney.
Well, good.
Well, you know. So how good a painter do you think Edvard Munch was?
Munch is a game changer. He's a modernist without cubism. What do I mean?
Yes, what do you mean?
Instead
Yes.
of a bunch of boxes and angles and geometry, you see this figure like this that you could draw, but you couldn't, that seems to be coming directly out of his nervous system, like some sort of raw nerve, on a bridge passing from his world to yours, from world to another world, to one kind of sunlight to another, and a new psychology is being born. Something that's really familiar, right on the cusp of the most violent century in the history of the world.
A post to this conversation, someone gave me a note that said a Cézanne went in 2011 for more than 200 million, for 250 million.
See, again, I have no problem with that. I love, everybody should have money. Of course, Sotheby's has locked out all of its workers. They're going to make a vast profit tonight, which is great, but they can't even pay the people.
What would be the commission on a $200 million painting?
Again, I'm guessing it'll be, you know, upwards of $10 to $20 million just for putting it on the block, selling it to the highest bidder. This isn't the way to do business. This is a nasty piece of business.
But if you could spend $200 million, would you spend it on a piece of art? What would you spend $200 million on? On a single item? What would that be for you?
Well, I'd get an aquarium. I've always wanted a small aquarium. I think I would buy a building and give it to the art world. I would put, say, 200 artist studios in there, a floor for a museum, 50 galleries endowed with $10 million, take care of my nieces and nephews.
Or you could plant 200 million trees. There are lots of options.
Or buy a nuclear submarine and hang it on a wall.
Or you could give it to medical research.
I could.
Yes.
Wow.
Listen, we will all know tonight, will we not? We might not know the buyer, but we will know the price.
We will.
Tonight.
It'll become a headline and a freak show.
All right.
Front page tomorrow.
I'm afraid so.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.